Welcome back to the channel where I provide regular cricket content on interesting topics. Today's video is a continuation of my greatest one-day international sides. This time it is India's turn. As I mentioned previously, picking an all-time one-day side is actually a bit more challenging than the test versions. I say this because the game of test cricket hasn't changed as much as the one-day arena. In the 80s a good one-day score was 250. But now with shorter boundaries and power plays 300 is just about competitive. But I am going to do my best to try and imagine how some of the players from previous eras would get on in the more modern style of play. On to India then, and when I think of their one-day sides over the years, I think of moments of brilliance, but moments of intense frustration also. Whenever a tournament rolls around I look at the Indian side and think they should be very hard to beat. But then they can disappoint out of nowhere. Here goes, this is my all-time Indian one-day side. Number 1, Sachin Tendulkar, average 44.8, strike rate 86.2. I think you would struggle to make any best of Indian side without including the Little Master. The only question I suppose remains then is where Sachin bats. I always liked him opening the batting, it set the tone for the Indian side, plus it ensured that Sachin got a full opportunity. His average was actually better when opening the batting, averaging 48.3 in that position. He was that good that he could play wherever, so for me he takes the first ball. Number 2, Rohit Sharma, average 48.7, strike rate 90. I know stats don't tell the full story, but at times I think that Rohit Sharma is a little bit underrated. Perhaps not in India, someone please confirm in the comments, but in England he isn't spoken about that highly. I for one can't work that out. As an example, in one-day internationals against us in England, he has a staggering average of 64 from 27 games. I think it might be because the focus is always on Virat over here, but Sharma has been every bit as impressive. I think he walks into any Indian greatest one-day side, and he certainly does mine. Number 3, Virat Kohli, average 57.3, strike rate 93.6. Talking of Kohli, here he is in his natural batting spot of number 3. It feels for me in recent years that the knives have come out a bit against Virat. For example, there are regularly negative comments about him on my videos. I get that his personality divides opinion, but boy can he play. I actually think his game is best suited to 50-over cricket, and his stats lean that way also. He just has a skill of being able to increase his intensity as the innings wears on. He averages 60 at number 3, and who can argue with that? Not me. Number 4, Yuvraj Singh, average 36.6, strike rate 87.7. Here is a good example of someone where you shouldn't read too much into stats. Because on the face of it you would probably argue that there were better players than Yuvraj available. But he had something special, was a big game player and one of the cleanest strikers of the ball ever, just ask Stuart Broad. His ability to perform in big games was on full show in the 2011 World Cup, where he scored 362 runs, took 15 wickets and went home with 4 Man of the Match awards. His bowling was a handy option as well throughout his career, taking 111 wickets at 38, it was good enough to cause Kevin Peterson a number of problems too. As a shot maker in the middle order, Yuvraj makes my side. Number 5, KL Rahul, average 45.1, strike rate 86.6. This selection may get me some heat in the comments, but I'm rolling with it. If it wasn't for certain other greats' careers running alongside, I think Rahul would have played a lot more games than he has. As it stands he is a capable wicketkeeper, opening batsman or middle-order batter. He has made 5 one-day centuries and scores at a good clip. I think why some may argue with this selection is hangover from his poor form in the test side. But for a long time he has been consistent in one-day cricket. An average in the mid-40s is better than Ganguly, Sehwag, Azharuddin and nearly anyone else who isn't in my side. A solid performer and one who could be relied upon in the mid-order, Rahul makes the side. Number 6, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, average 50.6, strike rate 87.6. Probably the first name on my team sheet, Dhoni is one of those players who was the envy of the world. Yes, there are stars all over the place, but as a finisher and a born winner, in one-day cricket Dhoni is very hard to match. If you add that to his tidy work with the gloves, he would walk into any team in the world. He will probably be best remembered for bringing home the run chase in the 2011 World Cup final. When he came to the wicket the game was in the balance, with probably the majority favouring Sri Lanka's runs on the board. But Dhoni took that all away with 91 off of 79 balls, finishing the game in heroic fashion, cementing his place in history. Number 7, Ravi Jadeja, batting average 32.8, strike rate 84.8, bowling average 37.2. I make no secret of my fondness for Ravi Jadeja on this channel. I think he is one of the gems of world cricket at the moment. His batting has gone from strength to strength over the past few years, to the point where he could almost get in the side on that alone. Then you add in his left arm spin, which although isn't the most pleasing on the eye, it is very effective. One more string to his bow is that Ravi is probably the best fielder in the Indian side at the moment, making him a worthy addition to any side, including mine. Number 8, Kapil Dev, batting average 23.8, strike rate 95, bowling average 27.4. India's greatest all-rounder and the hero from their first World Cup triumph, Dev is an automatic pick in this side. The ICC have backdated all of their rankings and you can guess who has the highest rating of all time from everyone who has played the game, Kapil Dev. The Indian great was more of a bowling all-rounder and his batting position of 8 reflects this, but he could score big runs quickly down the order as well. A superstar and an all-time great, Dev will be my captain. Number 9, Javagal Srinath, bowling average 28.1. One of India's finest seam bowlers in history, I believe Srinath is one of the more underrated players in the Indian back catalogue. He played in a time where all the spotlight was on the Indian batting, but he was a talented workhorse who could put the ball through at a good pace. Naturally, like a lot of Indian seamers, he was hampered by unfriendly pitches, but if there was anything in the wicket, he had the talent to expose it. Underrated and a solid bowler, Srinath makes my side. Number 10, Mohammad Shami, bowling average 26. I left Shami out of my all-time Indian Test team, but he was borderline. For me though, in the 50-over game he is a must. Shami is one of those guys with a really dependable, repeatable action. He doesn't do anything spectacularly, but he does do everything well. One thing which jumped out to me was his bowling strike rate in one-day cricket. It's just 27.8. Let me tell you, as someone who pores over stats, that is very impressive. It shows he is a dangerous wicket taker and a great asset to a side. Number 11, Jasprit Bumrah, bowling average 24.3. I tell you what, until the last minute I had Ajit Agarkar as my third dedicated seam bowler. I don't know why, I just really rated him. Plus he could bat and was the fastest ever to 51-day wickets when he reached that milestone. But I went for Bumrah, injuries and all, just because of his unique ability to change games. Bumrah for me is what India have needed for a while, a genuine quick bowler with buckets of skill. His action isn't the prettiest, but it sure is effective and he will take the new ball for me. That's my Indian 11, and how do you think I've done? I think that is a very good side, maybe a bit batting heavy, but I like the balance that Jadeja and Yuvraj bring to the bowling. I couldn't find room for such players as Zaheer Khan, Rahul Dravid or Virender Sehwag, which just goes to show the strength in the Indian team's history. Your turn now, who would you swap in and out? I love reading your picks, so fire away. As ever, thanks for watching and participating, see you soon.